What's going on, hustlers? Back at you guys with another video. Today we're going to be discussing 5 keys to success with DLA. Thank you guys so much for 800 subscribers. We're approaching 1K. We're well on our way to being there. The goal is 2,000 by the end of next month. I might just incentivize you guys to subscribe every single thousand. So if you guys have something that you want to see for 2,000 subscribers, drop it in the comments below, and then yeah, we'll vote on the best one, and then every 1,000 subscribers up until 10K, I'll make a special video for you guys revealing some sought after information. With that being said, let's get right into the video. So number one, you have got to niche down. Nobody wants a jack of all trades. And when I say nobody, I mean nobody in the government wants a jack of all trades, because you have to consider what is the end use of whatever material you're providing, right? So if you're providing hinges that are going to go on, an aircraft, and you don't particularly specialize in hinges, and you kind of sort of know what you're doing, but not entirely, because you actually sell like combat boots rather than these hinges, but you just saw it and you bid on it. And these hinges are going on training aircraft. If they're not up to standard, people die, people get hurt, people go home in caskets, and then there will always have to be a scapegoat. There always has to be somebody who's pinned with that responsibility. So whatever you're going to sell, niche down, make sure that you understand it. DLA prefers this. I always say in the beginning, we pick 20 cage codes with all of the clients that we work with, or I'm sorry, 20 PSC codes with all the clients that we work with. Then we narrow that down to 10. They submit bids on 10, and then we actually end up dwindling it down to 3 to 5 PSC codes. That is how we kind of niche it down, and then we always pick stuff that's related to each other. So I only sell bearings and airframe structural components. Those are the only two things I sell. I think it's actually like 4 PSC codes, but I only sell 2 things. Become an SME, become a subject matter expert. So a lot of people think that this is important because, oh, you need to know who to get pricing from and all that stuff. But that's not actually why being a subject matter expert is valuable. You want to have that kind of product market knowledge, because oftentimes you'll see that the contracting officers or the points of contact that are assigned to these solicitations don't always know everything that's going on with the product. One of the things that we'll talk about a little bit later on is kind of how mergers and acquisitions occur. And then oftentimes they'll list part numbers that have been superseded or are now obsolete, or that manufacturer doesn't make them anymore. But when you're a subject matter expert, then you can call that person, whoever the point of contact is, the contracting officer, let them know, hey, listen, I'm going to give you an alternate because what you're asking for does not exist. So rather than them sitting there twiddling their thumbs and just feeling like, oh, nobody's giving them what they're asking for, they'll have some kind of understanding as to what's going on with the product, and you'll be the one to provide that information to them, and in turn they will then award that contract to you. Number three, actually, you want to get preferred pricing. So once you start to do a lot of business with the same companies over and over, it becomes a lot easier to negotiate. I can tell you, once I make somebody $250,000, I have a lot more bargaining power to ask for a 10, 15, 20% discount than I do when I've only done, $1,000 worth of business with somebody. So number one is you want to niche down, and then those are 3 benefits of niching down. So niching down is our first key to success. Our second key here is understanding procurement history. So procurement history is what's listed in section B of the solicitations, and procurement history essentially acts as precedent. It tells you what the government has paid for it in the past, how much they've bought, how frequently they're buying it, and who they're buying it from. So I always compare procurement history to deer tracks. Winning your first contract or winning any contract is like hunting a deer. Procurement history is like deer tracks in the snow. It tells you what the deer is doing. It tells you, did it stop for water at this creek? Is it moving in packs? Does it traverse this area, back and forth? So this is going to give you a lot of insight into how you're going to attack this contract. Now, I want to mention this. Some people talk about this on YouTube. I don't really care. If somebody doesn't like my methodology, that's fine. Bid pricing templates do not work. They straight up don't work. And that's not to say that they never work. It's just that you cannot use them as a one size fits all kind of solution, right? They might work for certain kinds of items, but for those bigger ticket items, I'm talking about anything that's like 50 grand or more, you can't use a bid pricing template because each solicitation is different. Each product market varies. There are mergers and acquisitions. Companies buy each other out all the time. So you don't know when you're just entering stuff into a bid pricing template. Hey, did when, Sikorsky happened to be purchased by Lockheed Martin, did Lockheed Martin take all of the, material, the aircraft grade aluminum that Sikorsky got? If so, does that now decrease their price or does it now increase the price of the material because all the Sikorsky engineers left? Like, this is stuff that comes into play when mergers and acquisitions take place and whenever different companies get priced out of the market and stuff. There are things that are like as specialized as engineers leaving one company and going to another that will literally impact the price of material, and that goes back to being a subject matter expert that a bid pricing template cannot assist you with. And then there are also different time periods in which stuff is purchased. Like, one of the things that I will do, especially when I know that something is being manufactured with a certain kind of metal, I will look up the stock trading price of that metal. So if aluminum is trading at $15 a share right now, and then we go back and we look at, the trend lines for whatever aluminum is trading at a year ago or 2 years ago, and we saw that aluminum was really trading at $8 a share or whatever it is, whatever the unit issue is, and then you just throw in your bid, you throw the information that you currently have in your bid pricing template, you're gonna think that, oh yeah, you're like you're gonna think that, oh, you've priced it accurately. However, the price of aluminum is trending upward, so if you don't account for that, you're going to be SOL. So you've really got to understand procurement history, and then you've also got to understand the kind of product market that you're dealing with. And there's a lot of information that can be gathered just from those four lines, those four different categories of procurement history. And I'm actually going to make a video about breaking procurement history down, and that's going to be coming out this week. Key to DLA success number 3, do not bite off more than you can chew. I see this happen all the time. I tell the story of the first client I had who actually scammed me out of $6,000. He won his first contract. It was for $119,000. Then he decided without speaking to me that he was just going to go ahead and bid on the second one. Ended up being another $100,000 contract. So he was on the hook for about 220 grand. He bit off more than he could chew. He didn't understand what he was looking at. He didn't understand the origin inspections. He didn't have the logistical capabilities to transport everything. And then he also didn't even understand how Net 30 works. He didn't have the funds to buy that stuff. So yeah, don't bite off more than you can chew. You'll get bit in the ass. I see it happen all the time. You want to avoid origin inspections in the beginning, not to say that they never happen, because now about 85% of the stuff that I do is only origin inspection. But in the beginning, if you're a startup, you want to avoid it. You want to get your quality assurance processes in place, your standard operating procedures in place. Then you can start to undertake some of that stuff, because once DCMA comes, the Defense Contract Management Agency, to do that audit, you're going to have those systems in place, and then there's just going to be tweaking that has to be done. It's not going to be DCMA telling you, wow, you have no quality assurance, you have no receiving checklist, you have no receiving process. It's just going to be, hey, add a step here, add a step there. You want to deal within your logistical capabilities. So if you are a single mom, please do not sell entire refrigeration equipment, because then you're going to have to be moving it and you're responsible for transporting it. Unless you have the logistical capability to do that, you can pay somebody to help you move it. Or if you're working in an apartment, I have one client who he won his first contract a week ago, but he's working out of his college home. Like, obviously you can't have roofing materials shipped to a house on a college campus. That's just a recipe for disaster. So deal within your logistical capabilities. And then the third portion of this is avoid certs that you do not have. So if you're not ISO certified, don't bid on contracts that require an ISO certification. If you are not JCP certified, don't bid on stuff that requires a JCP certification. If you don't know what a sample report is or a lot testing report is, do not bid on contracts that require you to get one. So, number 3, don't bite off more than you can chew. Key to success with DLA number 4 is you need to, oh, nice. The Microsoft or Google just decided they wanted to kick us out. Make phone calls. It's not a government business, it's a people business. Yes, we are government contractors, but there are people on the other side of the phone. I posted a video, I think it's our best video to date, and it's literally how I won my first government contract. It was entirely because I spoke to somebody on the phone, and I spoke to him on the phone repeatedly. It's not a government business, it's a people business. Contracts are given to people who are liked, trusted, and remembered, and known as well. But obviously, being known is kind of a given if somebody likes you and trusts you. People talk about liked and trusted often in their books and all kinds of government contracting literature, but those who are remembered also have a large leg up. I guarantee you, if it comes down to two companies and they're offering the exact same material, same product price point, the company that is remembered by that contracting officer, that has some kind of rapport with that contracting officer, is going to get the contract. And then number 4, separating your, or the third portion of key number 4, is separating yourself from the pack. We live in a world where everybody likes to text. We live in a world where everybody likes to send emails, where people like to comment on videos and stuff like that. But human interaction is it's unfortunately declining, and when you make phone calls, that separates you from the pack. I even employ this strategy in my love life. Whenever I am texting somebody or I'm talking to a new girl, I'm just like, hey, listen, I would much rather call you. It's a lot more humanizing. And every single time we're on a date, I always get the feedback that they're just like, wow, I really like that you were confident enough to pick up the phone and call me. Making phone calls is an oldie but a goodie. It's a simple trick, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, key to success number 4 is make phone calls. Number 5, get ahead of your traceability. I will also be making a video on this that will be coming out probably this upcoming Friday. So everybody hears about, oh, okay, I bid on the contract and then I got a traceability request. I didn't know what to do. You should be creating your file from the time that you submit the bid, and your file should contain. I'm giving you guys some free game right here. Your file should contain the solicitation, and then it should contain the quote that you received from your vendor, and then it should contain your bid summary and your bid summary confirmation, or your quote submission confirmation, whatever you want to call it. You should be creating that file, and then you will have that in place once you win the award, and then you can just build on it and add stuff. So once you create your purchase order, you'll throw that in the file. Once you get your order confirmation receipt, you'll place that in the file. Once you make your invoice, you'll put that in the file. Once you make your sales order, you'll put that in the file. Once you make your packing slip, once you get your packing slip from your vendor, and then you create your own packing slip, right? So this literally establishes a baseline for traceability up front when you create your file from the time you submit the bid, and then you just start adding to it as you go. You got to know what classifies as trace, especially if you're dealing with vendors that are not familiar with the government industry. You can be like, oh, traceability. If somebody who's working at Best Buy has never done any business with the government, they're going to be like, what the hell is traceability? A packing slip qualifies as traceability. A letter of authorization qualifies as traceability. A certificate of conformance qualifies as traceability. Did I say letter of authorization already? I said CFC, packing slip, an invoice also classifies as traceability. There's a couple other kinds, but essentially traceability is anything from the vendor or manufacturer on letterhead, stating that this person is either approved to sell these parts, or if it is the approved source, stating, hey, for instance, McMaster-Carr, and they're giving you, I don't know, 10 bolts or something like that. And then get everything in writing. So I don't care if you spoke to Michelle from Honeywell on the phone and she gave you a quote and then you submitted your bid and you won it. Get everything in writing. You need to email Michelle from Honeywell and then be like, hey, per our phone conversation, can I get that quote in writing? Because pricing changes. Stock is oftentimes subject to prior availability. So if somebody buys something before you purchase it, And then there's no additional stock, you're SOL. So you need to get everything in writing. So those are my 5 key tips to success with DLA. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you found the video useful. And yeah, let's get to 1K. And then after 1,000, we're going to go to 5,000. And then after 5,000, we're going to go to 10K. It is March 31st. It's Easter. I see no reason why we will not be at 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And that's honestly me lowballing it just because of how quickly we're growing. So let's get after it. Road to 10K. Thank you guys for tuning in, hustlers.